Bernie Wall here, and in today's video, in my series of videos for IELTSLearningTips.com, I want to talk about something completely different from things that I've been exploring before, and that is motivation. I often speak to students and they tell me that it's very difficult to keep going, especially if they've taken the exam a few times and not got their score, or if they keep practicing but they don't seem to be making any progress. And I can appreciate this. I've learned languages in the past. I learned French and German at school, and I also learned Indonesian when I went to live there for some time. And learning a new language to the kind of level that you need for Band 7 and 8 can pose its own problems, and sometimes it does feel as though you're not making any progress. So I just wanted to say a little bit about that today and give you a few pointers on how you can help yourself to keep motivated and to keep moving forwards with your study. So I've put a few thoughts down on PowerPoint because I think it's always quite easy to see it when it's illustrated in words as well. So in order to achieve success, clearly, you have to be motivated to do the work and to improve. And it's the same in any skill. You know, you've probably heard me many times saying, you know, marathon runners need to look at their technique. Anybody who is in sport, they don't just play or run every time. They have to look at different aspects of their technique, which will help them to achieve success with the whole thing, with their marathon or with their racing or with whatever it is. And the same with you. Some parts of your exam may be weaker than others, and you have to focus on those things, but also keep yourself going and keep yourself motivated in order to be successful. So, one of the things you should do is monitor your progress. It's very difficult day to day, if you're not really looking, to see if you are actually improving. And sometimes I think you can be very surprised if you look back and see, right, what was my score on average a month ago, 2 months ago? And you'll probably find that you have made more progress than you think you have. So being able to see it and being able to appreciate it is quite important. And if you monitor what you're doing, then you'll be able to see that there is progress and be able to see what's happening. And that helps you to keep going. So success equals motivation. If you had a target of, let's say, 25 in your reading and you get to 25, that will spur you on to go to 27 or 28 or 30. And that motivation then will give you success, and that will then give you more motivation. So it does work, and this is the best way of doing it. Give yourself congratulations. So if you achieve a target, then, you know, appreciate it and congratulate yourself for having achieved that target. That also helps with motivation. Be pleased with it. Maybe you've still got a long way to go, but it doesn't matter. You know, the world wasn't made in a day, and there are lots of steps that you might need to take to get the success that you eventually want. So celebrate the small steps as well as the big ones. And this will all help you to keep going. Okay, one important way of monitoring is to keep progress. So if you keep a record of what you're doing, and on my website, IELTSLearningTips.com, among the free resources is a learning plan that you can download, and you can actually use it to keep a record of your study. And there's an example in that learning plan of how to do it so that you will use this tool effectively. It's not always obvious. I quite often have students saying to me, you sent me easy reading. That reading is easier than the ones you sent me before. In actual fact, there is no difference in the readings. What's happening is that they are improving, and therefore they perceive the readings as being easier. They're not actually easier, they're just doing better. So it's not always obvious that you're making progress. Sometimes you need to actually make yourself see it. Language development is not a linear thing. It does not go up exponentially. Generally, what happens with development in language is that you go up and then you plateau. And you plateau for a long time. And quite often when students are learning English, they'll say to me, I'm not improving, it's not getting any better. And then suddenly they will write something, or they will say something, or they will hear something, or read something that they understand, and it surprises them, and that means that there's been a leap. But once you've made that leap, then it's going to plateau again. So don't expect it to keep going up, up, up in an exponential curve. It will not. It will go up and then plateau, and then up and then plateau. That's a normal curve for language learning. Okay, rises and plateaus. And it helps you to set targets. So if you have a record of your study and you're stuck at 25 out of 30, set yourself a small target that in the next week you're going to get 26. And make the targets achievable. They shouldn't be too huge. Don't go from 25 to 35. Just go to, 2 points. I'm going to get 2 more correct in my next reading, or in the next week, or in the next month I want to get to 30. But make them small, and then you can achieve them, celebrate them, and then you can do another 2 points. Okay, it's important to be realistic. Are you really ready for band 7 or 8? If not, appreciate how long it's going to take you. What do your scores tell you when you do the practice? Or what do your previous exams tell you? If you're not anywhere near band 7, you have to accept it's going to take time. If you're getting totally confused, I was speaking to a student recently who actually took the exam and worked with me a couple of years ago. And what spurred her to come and talk to me was the fact she had so much information, so many techniques, so many examples, so many rules and regulations that she just did not know what to do. And so she needed somebody to help her to plan how to move forwards. And we worked together for quite some time, 3 months, and then she got her 7s. But sometimes it's important to just throw everything in the air and go back to basics, and go back to the drawing board is an idiom meaning go back to basics, start again, work it out, and in the long run it will help you with any confusion. Okay, be honest with yourself. Don't ignore the truth. It will only hurt you. It won't hurt anybody else. If you're at band 5.5 and you want 7, don't book the exam. It's going to take you a few months to make up that gap. So be realistic and be honest. Go back and learn some more English. Go back and learn some more vocabulary. Look at the tenses, look at the spelling, whatever it is, don't ignore it. Be truthful with yourself and work on those things. And once you can do those things, then you will start to be motivated to do more and get higher. If you don't do those things, if you just cross your fingers, cross your fingers and go and book an exam when you're nowhere near your band, the only person who's going to suffer is yourself. And in my experience, and I've been teaching IELTS for over 20 years, most of that at band 7 and 8, most people do not allow enough time to get the band that they want. 9 times out of 10, probably 9.9 times out of 10, people are over optimistic about what they can get in the exam. And that route of just taking the exam again and again and again is expensive, because the exam itself is expensive, and it's also very time consuming. Don't stay stuck. Get some help. Go online, find some support. Okay, there's a lot of help there. Sometimes there's too much help, and that can get you confused. So be careful. Get the help that's going to be useful for you. Think about investment. You will be investing in your university, you will be investing in your move to another country, you will be investing in your new career, whatever it is. And if the thing that's stopping you from getting there is IELTS, then why not invest a little bit in that too, so that you can be sure it's not going to block you from all those other things I've mentioned. And I know many, many students who've taken the exam 10, 15, 20, 25 times. And if you think about how much that cost them, and they could have actually got some help and support for a lot less than the number of times it took to take that, to get that score. So make IELTS part of your investment in your future, and I think it will be quicker and more certain. If you can't invest anything, then find people who are doing the same thing as you, people who are looking for band 7, people who are struggling with the reading but are good at something, or somebody who is good at what you're not good at and they need help with something that you are good at. I worked with some students a few years ago, and there were some that were really good at reading but not so good at listening, and they were able to help each other. So that's another avenue, another option for you. As we say, 2 heads are better than 1. And I have 2 sources of support. One is my website, IELTS Learning Tips, where there are free resources, there are some webinars there, which can help you with certain aspects of the IELTS exam. And it's all aimed at band 7 and 8, because that's where I specialise. And there is the link to that free resources page, which you can find also at the bottom of this video. And a new resource which I've just set up in the last week is a new Facebook group for IELTS called IELTS Band 7 and 8 Success Network. And the link for that is here. Again, I'll put it at the bottom of the video so you can go, and it's a closed group, but it's open to anybody who wants to join. So just ask to be admitted, and I'll put you in that group. And on that group, you can interact with other people who are looking for band 7 and 8. It's a place where you might find somebody who could be a good study buddy for you, or who could join in a group with you to do some speaking practice or whatever. I'll also be putting some information on there in you know, some small articles and short videos and things to help you with your IELTS. So it's another place to get the support you need to keep you motivated. Okay, so I'll stop sharing. That's all I have to say on that. But don't give up hope. Keep going. I've met many, many students who've, you know, spent a long time, but they've got there in the end. And on that day when they opened the result and it was what they wanted, you know, I can't imagine how everybody feels. I know excitement, and it is such a wonderful day. And I want that for you all. So don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Find support, find help, find people who can work with you. And consider investing, especially in your writing, if you invest in nothing else. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. And don't forget to access those resources that I mentioned earlier. Okay, bye.